I have 3 children, and over the years and in various ways, I've contributed to their anxiety, their low self-esteem, and their lack of resilience. I've robbed them of many of the joys of childhood. And simultaneously, I prevented them from developing the critical skills they need to become successful, independent adults. I'm an awesome dad, right? Terrible. But before you feel sorry for me, or more likely my children, I'm here to tell you something else. If you have kids under 30, you're probably just like me. You didn't think I did this on purpose, did you? I did it through my most well-intentioned parenting behaviors. Earnest things like helping my kids succeed, helping them avoid failure, keeping them safe, scheduling them in after-school activities so they're engaged all the time, idle hands, right? I keep them on the right track to a good college. We all do that, don't we? These seem like perfectly normal parenting behaviors. But here's the thing. They're mostly totally wrong. They actually have serious negative implications for our kids and the future of our society. See, our kids actually have a natural inclination, a need, to take risks, to find their risk tolerances, to succeed and to fail, and to suffer consequences. Many people make the mistake of thinking that self-esteem is a gift. Some people just have it, or that it can be imparted to us or taught. The reality is self-esteem is a neurochemical response. When you try to do something and you succeed, you get a dose of serotonin. Your brain actually teaches itself to be resilient and that it can through that serotonin process. It can't be taught by a book. You can't impart it to your kids. Yet as a society, we de-risk our kids' lives to a greater extent than anywhere in the world. In Finland, 8 and 9-year-olds actually use heavy machinery, power equipment, and giant saws. They cut down huge trees in the forest. We don't even let our kids go in the woods because there's ticks in there. There are actually more injuries sustained during video game play than there are climbing trees. We need our kids to take more risks, and we need to allow that. And it's antithetical as parents. It's the opposite of what we want to do. But we have to. They have to take physical risks. They have to take social and emotional risks with other kids. We got to stop overscheduling them in organized activities and having them do everything because of our own FOMO. Oh no, make sure Timmy's taking the extra lessons with the awesome baseball coach because the other kids are. We don't need to do that. We don't need to surveil them, yet we're tracking them on GPS. We're looking at their texts. We're looking at their browser history. Do you know what the average onset age of anxiety is in our country today for kids? It's age 6. 6. What business does a kid have having anxiety at age 6? In Disney movies, they live happily ever after, right? What are they happily ever after what? After facing adversity. Moms don't save the day in the Disney movies. It's about kids figuring things out for themselves. In the UK, they did a study and they asked parents of 10-year-olds, how far, when you were 10, were you allowed to go from home unsupervised, to go to a lake to go fishing or a friend's house or to the ballpark to play ball? And the answer on average was 8 miles. Then they asked those same parents, how far do you let your 10-year-old kids go today? And that answer was the end of the block. Is the world less safe? No. There's less child abduction today than any time in the last 40, 50 years. Kids have helmets on when they're riding bikes and big wheels and all that stuff. We have mobile phones. We know where they are. Why are we doing this? I was talking to a guy about this, and he told me this story. When he was a kid, he loved to surf. He was 14, and his brother was 16. And his parents sent him on a surfing trip. Not an organized trip with chaperones. They sent him and his 16-year-old brother to Puerto Rico alone. So they landed in San Juan, and they had to figure out how to get to Rincon 3 hours later, 3 hours away. There was no Uber, no transportation was arranged. They didn't speak Spanish. There was no GPS. So they figured it out. They got a cab. They somehow got to Rincon. And then when they got there, they couldn't check into a hotel because they didn't have one. The parents didn't even book them a hotel. So they found a hotel, they checked in. So they then figured out where the great surf spot was, and they took their 8-foot boards, and they went to the surf spot, a 45-minute walk down a treacherous embankment. And do you know what happened next? They had the best time of their lives. They surfed for a week in the most amazing waves. They met people from all over the world who shared their passion for surfing. And that guy went on to become one of the leading builders of theme parks and water parks in the country. I don't even surf, but I love this story, right? This is like, if you did this today, you would be on the front page of the paper. You'd be under indictment. Why? Every great story has adversity. Our kids deserve to overcome things and to have great stories of their own. Think about all the coming-of-age movies, The Sandlot, Stand By Me, all the John Hughes movies that we all love, right? What's the common thread? Kids figuring it out for themselves. So Joel's parents wanted him to go to Princeton, right? Boy, did they. But Joel got himself into Princeton. And it only cost his mom a broken glass egg, which is a lot less than it cost Laura Laughlin. So the first word I'd like you to remember is adversity. It's against our nature as parents to let our kids have it, but we need to. We need to give them adversity, okay, and let them overcome things themselves. The second thing I'd like to talk to you about is conformity. Here's the thing. Your kids are under tremendous pressure everywhere in their lives to conform. It's unbelievable. It always is for a kid. So first of all, they go to school all day. The education system, it's a conformity system. We teach all the kids the same things the same way, regardless of how different they are. They're starting to change it. It's mostly the same. Youth sports culture, conformity. Sign them up for soccer. Sign them up for, oh, your friend's doing this. Sign them up, sign them up, sign them up. Because everybody's doing it. Social media is one of the worst things that's happened to conformity ever. Everybody's fabulous lives are documented every single second, and the kids got to watch that. And you know what? If you're not the best looking or most athletic or smartest or richest kid, it's really hard. And that's like 99% of us, right? So creativity for our kids is stifled. Don't be complicit as a parent. Don't sign them up for stuff or make them do something because you think it's what they should be doing. You know, if they want to do it, they'll let you know. If they want to get the super great coach or dance teacher or whatever, and they ask you for that and you want to give that to them, great. But don't do it because of your own competitive parenting nature. So conformity. It's a very natural human process, but we need to actually reject it. And the reason is all of the greatest gifts that mankind give itself, gifts of art and music and scientific discovery and innovation, comes from those who reject it. So the last thing I want to talk to you about is agency. Agency is the concept of giving somebody control over something. We need, as parents, to give our kids as much agency as we possibly can. When our natural knee-jerk reaction to something is to fix it or to give them the answer, because they're our kids. Hey, this is the situation, here's what you should do. Or, oh, you know, that's a problem, I'll call the coach or I'll email the teacher. No. That's not what we should do. We need to give our kids the gift of agency. And I have a hypothesis. It's a very simple one. The way that independence is prevented in our parenting, I mentioned it's insidious. It happens one moment at a time. It's all of these little moments where your kid is facing something and you can either fix it or give them the answer or not. When you let them fix it themselves, their independence progresses. They move forward. They teach themselves, hey, I faced that thing and I handled it. If they face it and they make the wrong decision or have a negative consequence, they still advance because they've taught themselves, you know what, I woke up the next day. Life didn't end. I got through that. I learned something. I'm good. I can handle stuff. When you don't give it to them, you do the opposite. What do you teach them? You teach them to look to you when they have a problem. And in the absence of you, to look to somebody else. That's a victim mentality. That's not what we want for our kids. We want our kids to be able to tackle their own problems. Unless you want them living with you when they're 30, seeking safe spaces, and you're still cutting their meat, which I don't think any of us want, right? So that's what I want to impart to you today as a parent. It's not easy. You have to be considerate in these moments of embracing adversity for your kid, of rejecting conformity, and giving the gift of agency. Because it's not our job as parents to make our kids happy. That's when we mess it up. That's when I messed it up. Our job as parents is to help our kids become independent. Because true happiness comes from independence. That's why we've been fighting for it for millennia, and people have died for it. And as a parent, you don't have to do either of those things. All you actually have to do is less. Thank you.